Hey guys, this is Andre.
And Mike.
And we have a very special episode, Buyer's Guide today.
Yep.
Why is that?
Andre, we have the two best-selling crossovers on sale in the US right now.
Yeah, let's just go over the sales numbers really fast. The RAV4 behind us is the best-selling crossover in the country in 2017.
Yep.
And this counting fleet sales and consumer sales.
Right.
And what's the number?
The total number is 407,594 units.
That's a lot of crossovers.
Dude. That's a lot of crossovers.
Not as many as Ford F-150s are being sold.
No, not quite. About half as many.
But a huge number.
Right. But the Rogue is also pretty big itself.
Yes.
So to clarify, guys, this number includes the Rogue Sport, which is slightly smaller, sells for about $3,000 less. Nissan did not disclose what percentage of this number was the Rogue Sport, but the total in the Rogue family is 403,465 in 2017.
So these are huge numbers, and they're very close together. They're within 1% of each other.
Yeah.
And once again, the Nissan sales are fleet and consumer. And there's of course the Honda CR-V, which is not here.
Right.
We'll do that video another time.
Yeah, that'll be later.
But let's start sort of with the starting price, and let's compare the RAV4, kind of a base model, and the base Rogue.
Okay, so the base RAV4 is the LE trim. It starts at $24,410.
Okay.
And that's front-wheel drive with the normal engine option.
Okay.
And then the Rogue starts in the S trim at $24,800. Also in front-wheel drive.
So very comparable. The
Pretty
Rogue
close.
starts a little bit higher on the
pricier.
very base base models. But let's just quickly go over kind of the base engine options.
Yeah. Okay, so on the RAV4, your base engine is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It makes 176 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque.
Okay.
And that is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission.
Uh-huh.
So on the Rogue, it's actually very similar. It's also a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. This time 170 horsepower, 175 pound-feet of torque. So a little less horsepower, a little more torque. Of course, being a Nissan, it's paired to a CVT, like almost all their cars are. So the Rogue in front-wheel drive gets 26 city, 33 highway, and the RAV4 gets 23 city, 30 highway.
So actually, the Rogue has the upper hand here, and I think it's thanks to the CVT
It's probably
transmission.
the CVT, yeah.
But here's where I stand on kind of the driving dynamics of the two. I like the traditional 6-speed in the RAV4.
Yeah, it's a little more engaging, and you know, it doesn't make that awful droning noise when you're accelerating.
Right, and the Rogue, I mean, a lot of cars come with CVTs now, not just Nissans.
Right.
You know, Subaru is doing it,
Yep.
Honda is doing it on their CR-V.
Yep.
But it's a fine runabout, but just it doesn't have that kind of a fun factor as much as a traditional transmission does. So that's kind of where it stands. But you're getting a lot more kind of base fuel efficiency there.
Right, and it, like a significant amount more. Almost what, 3 miles to the gallon? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
three
a
mpg more. That's a lot.
That's a significant. It's like a 10% improvement using this transmission option.
Yep.
So let's go to the trim levels, because there's a lot going on with the trims, right?
Right. The Nissan is fairly straightforward. The Toyota is a different story because they have, get this, Andre, 10 different trim levels without any options.
Okay.
There's 10 different starting prices.
All right, let's start with the Nissan and let's go over that first.
We'll do the Nissan first. So like we mentioned, there's the S trim, which is $24,800. There's the SV trim, which bumps up to $26,020. With that, you get 17-inch rims, dual zone temperature control, a smart key with push button start, and a power motion lift gate with your foot or whatever. That's kind of fun.
Okay.
And then on the SV, you can get nav for an optional $1,490.
Okay.
Then there's the Midnight Edition, which is basically the same thing as the SV, but it's the blackout package.
Yeah.
So you get a black grille, black wheels, some special Midnight Edition badges. And Nissan says that that's an $1,865 value for $1,095, but effectively it's just a blackout.
It's kind of an appearance package.
It's an appearance package for $1,000.
Yeah.
That starts at $27,115.
Okay.
And then there's the SL, which is like the most premium trim package that starts at $31,180. With that, you get navigation standard, pedestrian detection, intelligent cruise control, leather seats, and there's a premium package which includes the sunroof and LED headlights for $1,820.
And interesting that these two cars behind us, the RAV4 is actually a hybrid.
Right.
And this is a regular Rogue.
Right.
But they're within $500 of each other.
Yeah, they're really close, aren't they?
$36,000 on this RAV4 Hybrid SE, and this SL Rogue behind us, $36,500.
Yeah, that's super close. Now, the Rogue does actually, or did have a hybrid option in 2017, which is still on sale right now. However, Nissan hasn't announced the 2018 lineup yet.
Okay.
So we don't actually we can't confirm that the hybrid will be here in 2018. However, the hybrid option on any trim level is $1,440.
Okay, or in 2017 model year.
In 2017 model year.
Yeah.
And then you can get all-wheel drive on any trim level for $1,350.
So that's an interesting take from the Nissan. You can get the hybrid in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive.
Right.
But in the RAV4, hybrid only comes as an all-wheel drive.
Right, and the really confusing part, which we'll get into when we start doing the trims for the RAV4, is that the hybrid all-wheel drive system is not actually consistent in its price, depending on what trim you get.
Oh, so it's just kind of adjusting its price as you move along.
Yeah, as you move along the
So
trims.
let's talk about what the hybrid system is in the Rogue.
Right. So in the Rogue, the hybrid system moves down to a 2-liter 4-cylinder.
Okay.
Still naturally aspirated, and of course you get the electric motor to come in. So it makes 176 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque combined.
Okay.
And that, of course, is still paired to a CVT. But your fuel economy gets another bump to 33 city, 35 highway. So another 2 or 3 mpg on average.
That's a really good bump. Now, what about the RAV4 hybrid?
So the RAV4's hybrid engine is still actually a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. This one is kind of flip-flopped.
Okay.
So it makes 194 horsepower combined and 152 pound-feet of torque. So less torque than the Rogue, but more horsepower.
That's interesting. And a CVT.
And a CVT instead of a 6-speed auto.
Yes. So these two, it's like splitting hairs, basically.
Yeah, it really is. They're super closely matched.
And you could see it in the sales numbers. You could see it in the price. You can see it in the options. But the RAV4 has a lot more trim levels. Let's kind of talk about the trims.
Right. So like I said before, there's 10 different trim levels available in the RAV4. So you start with the LE, which is $24,410. To get the hybrid in the LE trim, you have to pay an extra $2,825.
Okay.
So then you have the XLE, which is the next step up, starts at $25,500. All-wheel drive / hybrid in this model is $3,630.
Okay.
Then you have the Adventure trim,
Yes.
which comes standard with all-wheel drive.
Okay.
But there's no hybrid available, and that is $28,400.
So I just recently drove the Adventure version of the RAV4. The Adventure is partially an appearance package, but partially a functional package because it has more ground clearance.
Okay.
6.5 inches of ground clearance.
Pretty good.
It has also what Toyota calls the towing prep package, which means you have more cooling for the transmission and the engine, so
Gotcha.
additional cooling capacity.
So the Adventure is like for people who want to go maybe a little more off-road and tow stuff, and like it's go on adventures, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more adventurous. It can tow up to 3,500 pounds,
Okay.
which is kind of unique in this segment.
Yeah, that's respectable.
So, and it has kind of a, the matte finish on the hood. So
yeah, it's got some
has
special
some appearance.
stickers. Yeah. So that's $28,400. I might have said that already. Then you bump up to the SE, which is starting to get into the more premium trims. That starts at $30,190. To get hybrid on this, you have to spend $2,095. And the reason that's getting cheaper is because this comes standard with all-wheel drive now.
So yeah, and you get more and more as
Right.
you progress. And by the way, this is an SE hybrid right here.
Right, this is what we have.
Yeah.
So then after the SE, you have the Limited,
Okay.
which starts at $32,305.
Right.
To get the hybrid on this is only $1,825 now.
Okay.
So you're getting a little cheaper there. And then finally is the Platinum, which you can't get all-wheel drive on the Platinum. That's their most premium model, and that starts at $36,150.
So I mean, both of these you can kind of option them up into high 30s.
Yeah, you can
maybe
probably
touch 40 almost.
40.
Yeah.
I think that would be about the top of where you can go. Now, we didn't mention fuel economy for the RAV4 hybrid.
Yeah, what is that?
So that is 34 city, 30 highway, 32 combined. So again,
better city, but not as good
not as
on
good
the
highway. Yeah, but once again, on average, you're going to be splitting hairs with the RAV or with the Rogue. They're super close.
So let's talk about usability in the interior a little bit. So how do they compare, for example, on cargo space behind the rear seats.
So they're pretty close once again, but actually the Rogue is just a little bigger inside. So it has 39.3 cubic feet of cargo space in the trunk, whereas the RAV4 only has 35.6.
Okay.
So a difference of, what, 5 cubic feet, which
it's sizable. It's good.
It's noticeable.
Good. Yeah.
And then for passenger interior volume, the Rogue has 105.8 cubic feet, and the RAV4 has 100.7. So once again, about 5 cubic feet separating these two vehicles.
Yeah, so the Rogue is a little bit bigger. And by the way, the Rogue also has an optional third row.
Right.
Which, it's only for like kids.
Yeah,
or
you and I would not fit back there.
Very small adults.
Yeah.
Actually, it was when I was shopping for my wife's car a couple of years ago, we looked at the Rogue 3-row. Mm-hmm. It just kind of, wasn't big enough for our family.
Yeah,
so.
it's really for little kids.
Yeah, but it's optional. It's there.
Yeah, the RAV4 doesn't have that option, right?
Okay, I'm on the highway in the Nissan Rogue with a ProPilot Assist feature, and Nissan is very careful to let you guys know that this is not an autonomous feature. The driver has to be alert, the driver has to be looking where they're going, and steering. But right now I set my cruise control on, and I have a lot of green symbols. That means the car is using its sensors to figure out where those highway lines are. It can see the vehicle ahead of me, and it's decelerating because there's a red light coming up. Okay, so I set the ProPilot cruise control on, and there's a red light on the highway. Let's see if it'll bring me to a complete stop. I'm not touching the pedals. Okay, it's slowing down, and it's approaching 0. So it's actually taking me to a complete stop, which is a very useful feature. I'm still not touching the pedals. It's holding me, I'm not touching the pedals, and I let go of the steering wheel at the stoplight. Let's see what happens when the light turns green. And the system should remind me that I need to start moving. It did not remind me, I had to accelerate by myself. So I'm gonna hit resume. And the Rogue should accelerate. Once again, I'm not touching any pedals right now. There it is, the steering assist went green, and there's quite a lot of pressure in the steering wheel. It really wants to keep me centered. But here's a challenging point. There's a merge lane going to the right, and the car was able to read it. Once again, the system is monitoring that I'm touching the steering wheel. It's checking if there is pressure applied. So if I let go of the steering wheel for too long, it will actually give me a warning sign to remind me that I need to keep steering. Right there, red warning. Okay, I'm using my blinker. The steering assist disabled. So the system's actually working as advertised. Okay, so the Rogue and the RAV4 start at about the same price. Mm-hmm. The Rogue is a little bit higher. But overall, the Rogue seems like the better value as you progress through the trims.
Exactly, because there is less variance in the different trims you can get. So I think at the end of the day, it's a little simpler and a little easier to keep the price low in the Rogue. But one other important thing for a crossover is obviously interior space, right? Yeah. So let's talk about that. Okay. So they're very close once again. I mean, that seems to be the theme of these two cars, is that they're just like, they edge each other out in one thing and not the other. The Rogue is a little bit bigger though. So cargo space in the trunk with the rear seats still up is 39.3 cubic feet. On the RAV4, it's 35.6. So, about 4 cubic feet difference.
That's noticeable.
Noticeable, not a ton, but yeah, definitely noticeable. And then for passenger volume, it's about the same difference actually. The Rogue is 105.8 cubic feet, and the RAV4 is 100.7 cubic feet. So 5.1 cubic feet of difference, which it's one of those things when you sit in each one back to back, you can tell the Rogue is a little bit bigger, but the RAV4 is still comfortable.
Which one would you choose if you had to choose right now, Rogue or RAV4?
For me, I think it's gonna be the Rogue for a couple of reasons. One, it's got a little more space on the inside. I'm a big guy, as you can probably see, and the Toyota feels a little cramped for me. I'm about 6'2". So I like the more interior space. I like the little extra bit of technology. And, frankly, looks is totally objective, but I think the Nissan looks a little bit better.
You know what? I'll actually pick the RAV4.
Oh, really?
I just like it's a little bit more engaging to drive.
Okay.
And actually, I like the RAV4 looks a little bit better too.
Right. Well, guys, with either one of these vehicles, I don't think you can go wrong. They're the two best-selling cars in their segment for a reason.
Yeah.
They both offer a lot of technology, a lot of features, and at an affordable price.
And if you like this stuff, please subscribe.
Yeah.
Click below; it helps us a lot.
Subscribe, notifications,
Boom.
like, comment, share,
And
all
we
those
read
things.
we read all the comments.
Yeah.
We may not answer every comment, obviously.
Yeah, we don't answer the mean ones.
Yes, and we don't have time to answer every comment, but
Right.
we read them. So thank you.
Yeah.